on NDTV.
At just 23 years old, Tushar Kumar has scripted history in Britain. From King's College London to mayoral ropes, the Labour councillor is now the youngest ever Indian origin mayor in UK history. On the 13th of May this year, Tushar Kumar was officially elected mayor of Elstree and Borehamwood in Hertfordshire. His appointment came during the town council's annual mayor-making ceremony, attended by civic leaders, residents, faith groups and community organisations. At 23, he is now making headlines across Britain and the Indian diaspora. But Kumar's political rise began much earlier. While studying political science at King's College London, he was elected as a councillor at just 20 years old. Before becoming mayor, he also served as deputy mayor, building a reputation for youth outreach, digital accessibility and community cohesion. Beyond politics, Kumar has focused heavily on community engagement. He previously worked as a policy advisor for the UK's Department of Work and Pensions. He also runs free Hindi language classes for British English children and has organised Diwali, Republic Day and Independence Day celebrations in Borehamwood. Supporters call him a youth icon with grassroots credibility. And politics clearly runs in the family. Kumar credits his mother, former Deputy Mayor Parveen Rani, as his political mentor and biggest inspiration. Now the 23-year-old says he wants to inspire more young people to enter public service, insisting that age should never be a barrier to change. From grassroots volunteer to Britain's youngest ever Indian origin mayor, Tushar Kumar's rise is being seen as a symbol of changing political leadership in the modern Britain. Bureau Report.
Hello and welcome to India Global with me, Arjun Samar Mahindran. Viewers, we have a packed show lined up for you this Tuesday evening, needless to say, but first, here are the headlines we're tracking. As G7 summit kicks off, PM Modi reaches French lakeside town of Eviale Bay, set to attend special session on global solidarity and bilateral talks with US President Donald J. Trump. Slovakia awards PM Modi with its highest civilian honour, Order of the White Double Cross, confirmed on PM Modi by Slovakian Prime Minister Robert Fico. UK's oldest Indian restaurant fights for survival. That's right, the iconic Veeraswamy restaurant could shut soon as UK's Crown Estate refuses to renew its lease. Hearing scheduled for the 29th of June. Special report lined up ahead of the show. In an exclusive chat with NDTV's Aditya Raj Kaul, Israel's ambassador to India, Reuven Azar, says Hamas is active in Pakistan and that Israel has briefed India about it. The envoy has also raised concerns about Pakistan joining the US-Iran peace process and anti-Semitism being encouraged by Pakistani state. Special interview lined up. Are Indians now discriminating against fellow Indians in Canada? Controversial new trend of elite, born and raised only dating mixers sparks outrage online. And a new poll is revealing a growing sense of unease among Asian American and Pacific Islander, or the AAPI communities in the United States. 6 in 10 adults believe the US used to be a great country for immigrants, but is not so anymore. On to our top focus this Tuesday afternoon. Viewers, you see the world's biggest democracies, well, they're back around the same table. The G7 summit has officially begun in the French lakeside town of Eviale Bay. The agenda is packed, needless to say, from the fragile US-Iran agreement and the war in Ukraine to economic security, trade, AI, critical mineral supply chains, and of course, global growth. But on day one, much of the focus has shifted to fast-moving developments in West Asia and Ukraine, along with key bilateral meetings on the summit sidelines as well. For starters, France has mounted one of its biggest security operations in recent years for the summit. Nearly 13,800 security personnel have been deployed around the venue, while more than 800 French border officers have also been mobilized far above the normal staffing levels. The country's President Emmanuel Macron, he personally met security officials, thanking them for what he called an exceptional mobilization to secure the summit.
Je veux remercier la très grande mobilisation pour sécuriser ce G7. Et c'est ce collectif ici présent. On a de manière exceptionnelle près de 13 800 forces de sécurité qui sont mobilisées.
The biggest arrival, of course, was US President Donald Trump. Now, Trump landed in France after unveiling the Iran agreement and is expected to hold a series of crucial meetings on West Asia, Ukraine and global trade during this summit.
You expect to win the Nobel Prize with this deal?
Like the Europeans to do something in Hormuz.
Will you be in Geneva on Friday, Mr. President?
Will you meet Zelensky?
Do you expect to win the Nobel Prize with this deal?
Like the Europeans to do something in Hormuz.
Will you be in Geneva on Friday, Mr. President?
Will you meet Zelensky?
Leaders arriving now in the middle of all of this high-stakes diplomacy, so it's called. There was also a lighter moment before official talks began. You see, during his meeting with Macron, Trump praised the UFC event recently held at the White House and congratulated the French president after French heavyweight Cyril Gaines's victory, briefly shifting the conversation from geopolitics to mixed martial arts or MMA.
So I want to congratulate the president. Last night, Cyril Gane won the fight against a great fighter, supposed to be unbeatable, and that was it. Cyril is from France. Did you watch the fight?
Yeah. Not in direct, but I saw it this morning.
That was a great fight. It was a great evening at the White
I was
House.
very proud, Cyril.
Now on the sidelines, President Macron said France is ready to move quickly to help secure the Hormuz Strait once the US-Iran agreement is formalized. He said France could deploy mine-clearing vessels and also noted that a French aircraft carrier strike group is already in the region, ready to assist if needed.
Je ne veux pas ici faire de scénario fiction, si je puis dire. En tout cas, nous sommes prêts. Et à horizon de 2-3 jours, Charles de Gaulle peut être sur zone. Maintenant, il faut le faire en bon ordre. On sait, je peux vous dire que dès demain, on peut avoir des chasseurs, des avions qui seront là pour des premières missions de surveillance.
Unsurprisingly, also attending the summit is Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Now, Zelensky has revealed that discussions with the US and France have focused on arranging a fresh meeting with Russia, possibly hosted in the United States this time. He also warned that if Moscow rejects another opportunity for talks, additional pressure will be on Russia, and that would be much needed.
Yesterday, we discussed with President Trump that such a meeting could be organized in the US in a format where Putin would find it much harder to refuse, at least to President Trump. And we will see what comes of it. If Russia refuses this chance as well, additional pressure will be needed.
And lastly, PM Modi is also attending the summit at President Macron's invitation. This marks the 13th overall G7 participation and PM Modi's 7th consecutive appearance. India's continued presence reflects its growing importance in global decision-making. We are awaiting more details on India's engagements. In the meanwhile, to break down the G7 agenda, the expectations, and of course, India's growing role and the planned meeting between PM Modi and Donald Trump, NDTV Senior Managing Editor Vishnu Shom sends us this report all the way from Geneva.
Well, the G7 features some of the most powerful nations in the world, and there is a very broad agenda this time around, as is the case frequently. They'll be looking very closely, for example, in the situation in Europe and the continued war between Russia and Ukraine. They'll be looking at cybersecurity. They'll be looking at AI. They will be referencing the situation in West Asia as well, where there's been so much in terms of hostilities. These are just a couple of issues, but I think the G7 nations will also be looking, at least some of them, at the changed equation between North America and Europe. So that's likely to come up potentially as well. But for India, this is important because we are over here, Prime Minister Modi is over here as a special invitee of the French President Emmanuel Macron. India is part of each of the important ministerial conversations and which have been taking place not just over here when they begin, but also on the sidelines of G7 and prior to the summit beginning. This, French diplomatic sources tell us, is an important example of how important France sees India. So the G7 process is important for India as well. The Prime Minister would certainly have a say in some of the important international gatherings that we'll be seeing in Evian. So we'll be keeping a close eye out on it for that. But certainly the highlight for most will be the meeting between the US President and Prime Minister Modi.
Now we shift our focus to the UK, viewers, where a century-old Indian culinary landmark in London is now fighting for survival. See, Veeraswamy, the UK's oldest Indian restaurant, 100 years, by the way, could soon shut its doors after its lease was not renewed by the Crown Estate. All eyes are now on the hearing, which is scheduled to begin on the 29th of this month, the 29th of June. Meanwhile, here's why one of Britain's most iconic restaurants is at the very centre of a legal battle. Take a look.
This is Veeraswamy, the UK's oldest Indian restaurant. Serving guests from the heart of London's Regent Street since the April of 1926. Over the last 100 years, its dining rooms have welcomed some of the world's biggest names. From Winston Churchill and Charlie Chaplin to Marlon Brando and Queen Elizabeth II. But after a century in business, Veeraswamy is now facing the possibility of closure. The controversy began after the Crown Estate, the property portfolio that belongs to the British Crown, declined to renew Veeraswamy's annual lease worth around £205,000. Without a renewed lease, the restaurant could lose its home inside the Victory House, with the space potentially making way for office redevelopment. The Crown Estate says it plans a comprehensive refurbishment of the building's upper office floor, which have remained vacant since flooding disrupted their power supply in 2023. According to the estate, the project requires removing the wall between the restaurant entrance and the office entrance to build a larger reception area, allowing higher rental income from future office tenants. But Veeraswamy's owners strongly disagree. They argue the refurbishment can go ahead without forcing the restaurant to leave its current century-old home. The building forms part of the vast Crown Estate portfolio, which generates revenue for the UK Treasury. Although it belongs to the reigning monarch in right of the Crown, it's not the King's private property. Its income grows through the Treasury, while the royal family receives funding through the sovereign grant. Whether Veeraswamy survives now depends on the outcome of its legal fight. But for one of Britain's oldest Indian institutions, the next chapter remains uncertain. Bureau Report, NDTV World.
Well, shifting gears, viewers, you see former Israeli spokesperson Alon Levy is facing a fierce pushback after he launched a scathing social media attack on PM Narendra Modi and India. Now, Levy blasted New Delhi's policy of neutrality, calling the new US-Iran peace accord a disaster for Bharat. However, viewers, a closer look at the hard facts completely dismantles his narrative. Let's trace how the data refutes Levy's claims and entirely. Levy's first major claim is that the deal elevates Pakistan into some sort of a global peacemaker at India's expense. But the structural reality tells a completely different story. You see, Pakistan's temporary role as a diplomatic channel cannot offset a severe multi-year economic crisis and also heavy reliance on IMF bailouts. Meanwhile, India stands as an undisputed $4 trillion economic giant, cemented as the primary strategic counterweight for Western powers in Asia, making any shift in global South leadership highly improbable. Now, this enduring economic dominance directly refutes Levy's second warning. Now, where he asserts that an emboldened Iran will choke India's Western trading gateways and also kill the IMEC corridor. In reality, viewers, trade routes cannot function in active war zones, as we've seen over the past few months. Because this US-backed accord enforces a verifiable ceasefire and it also lifts maritime blockades. The de-escalation actually restores safety to the Red Sea, effectively reviving and also salvaging, many would say, the long-term viability of the IMEC project. Now, securing these vital trade routes also directly protects the very people operating near them and also living near them. Striking down Levy's third claim that 10 million Indian Gulf migrants are now left exposed to Iranian missile threats. You see, historically, the single greatest threat to Indian diaspora has been the threat of an uncontrolled regional war. By binding Iran to an international diplomatic framework, this accord fundamentally and essentially, it minimizes that very risk of sudden military escalation, directly ensuring the physical safety of millions of Indian workers and people who are residing there and securing their financial remittances home. Now, ultimately, this collective security framework, it addresses Levy's final and fourth assertion that India's neutral posture is entirely unsustainable in the face of long-term regional chaos. You see, again, for decades, New Delhi's strategy of strategic autonomy, it's proven exceptionally resilient. By maintaining active independent relations with Israel, the Arab Gulf, the US, and even Iran simultaneously, New Delhi has successfully insulated its national interests and also energy imports, proving, in fact, that multi-alignment remains its strongest geopolitical shield. Meanwhile, in an exclusive interview, Israeli ambassador to India, Reuven Azar, he stated that Levy's comments are, well, they are personal, not the official stance of the Israeli government. He also emphasized that the stability of Israel-India partnership is very important and remains intact. Hear him out.
Since we are sitting in India, is about India's approach. Prime Minister Modi has encouraged dialogue and diplomacy when it comes to Israel, US and Iran. In fact, yesterday, he was one of the first leaders to welcome the US-Iran deal. But we have, in fact, a former official of the Israeli Foreign Ministry, Elon Levy, in fact, putting out a statement.
He was a former, very short time spokesperson at the Prime Minister's office.
Yes. He has said India is cautiously welcoming the Iran deal, but let's be clear, this is a disaster for India. And then he puts across at least 4 to 5 points where he says India's approach of neutrality is unsustainable and jeopardizes its long-term interests. This disastrous deal must push it to re-evaluate its geopolitical posture in a world in which Iran is dangerous and Pakistan is ascendant. Closer military and economic ties with Israel, similarly threatened by this news, is inevitable. Is this Israel government's position as well, or do you think this is just a public sentiment?
I think it's his personal opinion. I think, not only as diplomats, but as people in general, we have to be very cautious when we judge the policies of other countries, especially friendly countries, because each country has very good reasons why they are promoting a certain foreign policy direction. We appreciate very much the fact that our relations between Israel and India lean on very long-term gain trust. And this is one of the things that make this relationship unique. And at the end of the day, time will tell. I think that what Iran has done, the RGC has done in this confrontation to punish those who they call them friends, because Israel didn't have any presence in the Straits of Hormuz. They actually didn't even blink before attacking their neighbors and attacking the interests of their so-called friends for the sake of advancing an interest that has nothing to do with it. Okay? So time will tell.
Shifting our focus, but staying with the West Asia conflict and the crisis, you see a major diplomatic storm is brewing after Israel's ambassador to India, Reuven Azar, he's leveled explosive tracking allegations against Islamabad. Speaking exclusively to NDTV's Aditya Raj call, Ambassador Azar reveals that Hamas terrorists are regularly visiting Pakistan to coordinate with local terror outfits. Not only this, he's confirmed that Israeli intelligence has shared this critical information with Indian authorities, firmly reiterating that Israel does not trust pariah Pakistan. Let's go straight to that exclusive interview snippet for you right now.
Yes, we've been following the the activity of Hamas in Pakistan and Bangladesh. I know about the open sources that have been covering these visits, but probably there are also activities that we don't know about. There is no doubt, in my eyes at least, that the 7th of October, in a kind of sick way, is an inspiration for these terrorist organizations. They feel that they maybe can imitate what happened on the 7th of October in other parts of the world. So this is something that actually we drew the attention of the authorities here about it. I personally pushed for bringing people that follow these issues to brief the local authorities here. This should worry all of us.
Well, viewers, with that, it's time we step into a short break. Much more lined up on the other side. We'll be right back.
They can make me laugh lots and lots and lots and lots. They have to write arts and crafts, colouring, diamond art. Their favourite food is chocolate cake. They should have lots of pets. Goldfish, and then tigers, cats and ducks. They should be able to do a Rubik's Cube as fast as me, which is in 1.27 seconds. They can be a magician, so they can magically make me better. They would have to be caring. Strong. Give me the medicine and let me go home. Thank you.
Bring me sunshine in your smile.
Easy to cook Wiltshire Farm foods. Proper meals and peace of mind delivered direct to your door. Call or go online to find out more. We're ready when you are. Wiltshire Farm Foods. Life made deliciously easy.
This is Zena. She had such a difficult start in life. It took a lot of time and care, but thankfully, she's happy and healthy now, with a loving home for life. You can adopt Zena today with the Donkey Sanctuary. And there are lots more lovely donkeys to choose from. Take Walter. He's so playful. He loves to chase his favourite ball. Or Ashley, such a fun-loving donkey. Or calm and confident Drizzle. Adopting a donkey costs from £4 a month. Adopt today and you'll help save donkeys all over the world from abuse and neglect. You'll love your adoption pack with gorgeous pictures of your new donkey friend, and we'll send you more great updates throughout the year. Call 0800 038 1948, visit adoptadonkey.org.uk or text ADOPT9 to 78866. Adopt today from £4 a month and help many more donkeys in desperate need find the love and care they deserve. Thank you.
Now that I'm in my 60s, I want to help make sure that my family will really be looked after if anything happens to me. That's why I decided to learn more about over 50s life insurance from Cover Today, because they're the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period. Unlike other insurers who could make you wait up to 2 years, with Cover Today, you're fully covered from day one.
Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card. To get a free life insurance quote, call our friendly UK team or visit covertoday.co.uk.
It feels good knowing that your future's in hand. Evlo can offer you a loan from £1,000 to £15,000. Get your conditional decision in minutes.
Welcome back, viewers. Just imagine walking into a room of people who look exactly like you. But the split second you open your very mouth to speak, they turn their backs because your accent, well, it exposes you as a newcomer. Now, that brutal culture, or should I say a cultural sting, is at the very center of an explosive, toxic online civil war, which is currently shattering Canada's South Asian community right down the very middle. It is all sparked by a controversial new trend of elite, born and raised only dating mixers that explicitly ban recent immigrants. And now the gloves are completely off as an unholy alliance forms online, with local anchor babies and far-right white supremacists shockingly agree on who gets to decide who's truly Canadian enough? Let us dive straight into what is driving this sudden bitter blood feud amid South Asians in Canada.
For decades, the South Asian diaspora was treated as one massive unified monolith. Not anymore. A deeply unsettling fracture has broken wide open between second-generation Canadians and those labelled FOBs, or fresh off the boat.
Only for South Asians who are born and raised in Canada? मतलब अगर तुम कनाडा के अंदर पैदा नहीं हुए तो तुम दूसरे South Asian से नहीं मिल सकते.
Proponents insist that limiting their social pools to people who share a Western upbringing is a valid preference. But this controversy has taken a dark turn online. On platforms like X and Instagram, a toxic overlap has emerged. Far-right white supremacists are actively echoing these second-generation creators. Both sides are weaponizing identical rhetoric, claiming that international students refuse to assimilate into Canadian values and push locals out of the job market. The consequences of this internal xenophobia are leaking far beyond the dating scene. Forums like Reddit expose the harsh reality, where new immigrants face systemic exclusion from employment, reporting that established westernized Indo-Canadians are actively blocking them from entry-level and corporate positions. While event organizers defend these closed-door spaces as a necessary sanctuary to network without explaining their Western lifestyles, international students label this gatekeeping as a painful, hypocritical form of internal racism, one that uses white nationalist talking points to lock them out of society. As Canada's demographic pressure cooker continues to boil, the diaspora is learning that the most aggressive battles over integration are being fought right inside their own culture circles. Bureau Report, NDTV World.
And well, it's time for this Tuesday's Quick Take segment. Viewers see, Prime Minister Modi has received Slovakia's highest civilian honour, the Order of the Wise Double Cross First Class in Bratislava. The PM dedicated this award to the enduring friendship between India and Slovakia. He further went on to add that the award belongs to the 140 crore people of India. This development came shortly before the Prime Minister wrapped his visit to Slovakia at the invitation of his Slovak counterpart, Robert Fico. Cricketer Smriti Mandhana has been named in the Time magazine's 100 most influential people in sports. It's worth noting here she's the only Indian to feature on the list that holds names like LeBron James, Lionel Messi, Carlos Alcaraz, along with 96 others. Smriti Mandhana, the 26-year-old vice-captain of the Indian women's national cricket team, is also the joint holder of the most international women's cricket centuries. She's now a part of the elite club that features the top 100 athletes, coaches, advocates, and, well, also investors. With that, it's time we submit to a short break. News and updates continue on the other side.
No child should suffer the torture of trachoma, but so many are in pain right now. Nananga's lashes have turned inwards. They rip and tear away at his eyes. Pamelo's sight could be gone forever. He's just 3 years old. Kofanga screams for his mother. His eyes are so infected that he can't even see her. For so many children in the world's poorest countries, trachoma is torture. It's a painful infection often spread by flies, and it's destroying children's eyesight. But it could be stopped if you help today. By calling 0800 038 4926 and giving £1 a week to Sightsavers, you can help make sure children get the treatment they desperately need. You'll help us bring them the medicines and the care that can treat infections. And that means you'll be helping to save children from the torture of trachoma and a life of blindness. Please help us reach them. Call 0800 038 4926. Text C13 to 82727 or go online and give just £1 a week now. Because we need you to help save the sight of children like Nananga. We need you to help save them from the torture of trachoma.
Can meals be delicious, convenient, and healthy? Yes. Field Doctor's recipes are dietitian designed and chef inspired, so they taste great. Create your personalised Field Doctor menu to suit your dietary needs, made with whole foods. Award-winning meals, delivered straight to your door, ready in minutes. Use code TV20 for 20% off your first 2 boxes. Go to fielddoctor.co.uk/TV. Field Doctor, feed your health.
It was so painful to watch. I sat there and I held her hands. She just went. Though people don't like to talk about it, but we're getting older, it has to be done.
Yeah, you got to have that conversation about wills.
Start to think about, well, what would I do? Where would I want to leave things?
Give more end-of-life care. Search Marie Curie Will Talk to get your free will guide.
With Post Office Over 50s life cover, enjoy peace of mind knowing your family will receive a guaranteed payout when you're gone. UK resident 50 to 80, your guaranteed acceptance. No health checks and from just £1.15 a week. Plus free 24/7 GP access with the health and wellbeing benefit. Purchase and receive an amazon.co.uk, M&S or dining out gift card worth £125. Call Post Office on 0800 171 2211.
This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Hello and welcome to World Report with me, Arjun Samar, Mahendra and viewers. Let's take a look at what's making global headlines this Tuesday. The Iran-US peace push is gathering momentum, but deep mistrust, but it continues to shadow the process. US President Donald Trump is projecting confidence, claiming Iran has agreed to never pursue nuclear weapons and predicting major economic gains for the deal. Vice President J.D. Vance, meanwhile, said he expects the US-Iran deal will open the Strait of Hormuz without tolls for the long term. But Tehran, while it remains cautious, the country's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi says past US betrayal. Hello and welcome to World Report with me, Arjun Samar, Mahendra and viewers. Let's take a look at what's making global headlines this Tuesday. The Iran